Friday, March 13th, 2026. Buddha Dhamma, compiled by Somdet Prat Buddha Gosa Charya. English name, P.A. Payuto. Here, we're in chapter 18, the past factors of concentration. We're in chapter 18.3, Right Mindfulness, Samma Sati. Now this chapter is a little bit long, so we're going to break it down in two parts. Part 1, from page 1729 to page 1743. We're going to talk about the definition of Samma Sati. Then we're going to go into the mindfulness as appamado, heedfulness. C, social values of sati, mindfulness. Then we're going to go into sati, mindfulness for panya development, wisdom development, and the removal of mental impurities, the asavas and the kilesas, the removal of them. Then right mindfulness in the context of the four foundation of mindfulness. This is the Kaya Nupassana, Vedana Nupassana, Sita Nupassana, and Dhamma Nupassana. So the four foundation of mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of the mind, then the Dhamma Nupassana, mindfulness in the context of the law or the Dhamma, the truth. As we start with 18.3, Samma Sati, on the page of 1729, Buddha Dhamma, with the definition. Right mindfulness, Samma Sati, is the second factor in the group classified as Samadhi, or the training in the higher mind, Ati Sita Sikha. The sutras in the Tipitaka define right mindfulness as follows. Monks, what is Samma Sati, right mindfulness? This is called Samma Sati, mindfulness. A monk in this Dhamma and discipline discerns the body in the body, ardent, fully aware, mindful, free from covetousness and grief for the world. Discerns feeling in feelings, ardent, fully aware, mindful, free from covetousness and grief for the world. Discerns mind in mind, ardent, fully aware, mindful, free from covetousness and grief for the world. Discern mind objects in mind objects, ardent, fully aware, and mindful, free from covetousness and grief of the world. The Ati Dhamma of the Tipitaka provides another definition. It provides, what is Samma Sati, right mindfulness? Sati, mindfulness, is constant recollection and reflection, or mindfulness is the state of recollection, remembering, non-fading, non-forgetting. Mindfulness is the faculty of mindfulness, the power of mindfulness, balance, awareness. The enlightenment factor of mindfulness, which is the factor of the path, magga, connected to the path. This is called Samma Sati, right mindfulness. The sutra's definitions of right mindfulness above is a part of the teaching of the four foundation of mindfulness. Each of the four factors in this teaching has an abbreviated name. Kaya Nupassana, contemplation of the body by observing the nature of the body. Vedana Nupassana, contemplating of feelings by observing the nature of feelings. Sita Nupassana, contemplation of the mind, observing the nature of the mind. Dhammanupassana, contemplating of mind objects, observing the nature of mind objects. Before examining right mindfulness, samma sati, within the context of the four foundations of mindfulness, it is important to gain a basic understanding of the term sati, mindfulness. In relation to mindfulness as heedfulness, here the translation for English sati include attentiveness, detached watching, mindfulness. Translations for the Pali language includes appamada, include heedlessness, watchfulness, earnestness, diligence, zeal, carefulness, non-neglect of mindfulness, and non-negligence. Sati is most simply referred and rendered as collection. But since the translation may convey the idea of it simply an aspect of memory, while memory is certainly a valid element of sati's function, it does not do full justice to the essential meaning of the term. As a negation, apart from its meaning of non-forgetting, sati also refers to non-carelessness, non-negligence, non-distraction, non-confusion. The mind is neither disoriented or inattentive. Rather, it is focused and alert. These negations point to the positive qualities of circumspection, discernment of one's responsibilities, attentiveness to one's actions, and a readiness to receive things combined with the awareness of how to engage with them, give rise to vigilance and care. The function of mindfulness, sati, is often compared with that of a gatekeeper who pays constant attention to those people who enter and leave a city gate, permitting those suitable persons to enter and leave, while forbidding those who are unsuitable. Mindfulness is thus of major importance in the field of ethics. It regulates people's actions. It helps to protect and restrain by keeping people from indulging in bad actions and by preventing unwholesomeness from infiltrating the mind. Put in a simple way or term, mindfulness reminds us to do good and to give no ground to the bad. In the Buddhist teachings give great importance to mindfulness at every level of ethical conduct. Conducting one's life or one's Dhamma practice consistently governed by mindfulness is called appamada, or heedfulness. Heedfulness is the central importance in the progress in the system of ethics, and is usually defined as living with uninterrupted awareness. This may be expanded on as implying constant care and circumspection, not allowing oneself to stumble into harmful ways, not missing any opportunity for betterment, a clear awareness of what things need to be done and what left undone, non-negligence, and performing one's daily tasks with sincerity, with unbending effort towards improvement. It may be said that appamada, in the Buddhist sense of responsibility, heedfulness is classified as an internal factor, as yoniso manasikara, reason analysis, sound reflection, wise reflection. Both of these factors may have a pair with the identical external counterpart, associated with good and noble friends, Kalaramitra. Gautama Buddha's words describing heedfulness sometimes overlap the description of yoniso manasikara, reason analysis, for these two qualities are of equal importance, though they differ in application. Yoniso manasikara, wise reflection, is a wisdom factor and a tool for practical application. Heedfulness, on the other hand, is a concentration factor. It is of that which governs the use of wise reflection, urges its employment, and constantly inspire ones to further in progress. The importance and scope of heedfulness at various levels of ethical conduct may be seen from the Buddha's or Gautama Buddha's own words in the following examples. Monks, just as the footprints of all land animals fit into the footprint of the elephant, and the elephant's footprint is declared to be the chief among them, that is, with respect to size, so too whatever wholesome states there are all rooted in diligence, converge upon diligence, and diligence is declared to be the chief among them. No other thing do I see which is so responsible for causing unarisen wholesome states to arise and arisen unwholesome states to wane as diligence. In one who is diligent, wholesome states not yet arisen will arise, and unwholesome states that has arisen will wane. No other thing do I see which is so helpful for great benefit as diligence. No other thing do I see which is so helpful for the stability and the non-vanishing, the non-disappearance of the true Dhamma as diligence. As to the internal factors, I do not see any other factor that is so helpful for great benefit as diligence. Just as the dawn of the sun is the forerunner and the precursor of the rising sun, so too accomplishment in diligence is the forerunner and the precursor for the arising of the Noble Eightfold Path for a bhikkhu. The chief quality for great assisting of the arising of the Noble Eightfold Path is accomplishment in diligence. I see no other thing by means of which the unarisen Noble Eightfold Path arises, and the arisen Eightfold Path prospers and fulfills as the accomplishments of diligence. When a bhikkhu, a monk, is diligent, it is to be expected that he will develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path. In regard to the four matters, O monks, bhikkhus, should diligence be cultivated? What for? 1. You should abandon immoral physical conduct, cultivate virtuous physical conduct, and not be negligent in this. 2. You should abandon immoral verbal conduct, cultivate virtuous verbal conduct, and not be negligent in this. 3. You should abandon immoral mental conduct and cultivate virtuous mental conduct and not be negligent in this. You should abandon wrong view, cultivate right view, and not be negligent in this. If a monk, a bhikkhu, has abandoned immoral physical conduct, cultivated physical conduct, abandoned wrong view, and cultivated right view, he does not fear advancing death. In the four ways, O monks, should a monk cultivate diligence by himself, guarding the mind with mindfulness. May my mind not harbor lust for anything inducing lust. May my mind not harbor anger for anything inducing anger. May my mind not be deluded by anything inducing delusion. May my mind not be infatuated by anything inducing infatuation. When a monk's mind does not harbor lust for lusting inducing objects, because he is free from lust. When his mind does not harbor anger, when he is not deluded, when he is not infatuated, then he will not waver, shake, recoil, or tremble with fear. He will not need to believe anyone, not even the words of another ascetic. King Passatanti had a conversation with Gautama Buddha. He said, "Is there, venerable Sir Gautama, one thing which secures both good kinds of good and good pertaining to the present, or the visible good, and the pertaining to the future, or the spiritual inconspicuous good?" Gautama Buddha replied, There is. And what is that one thing? Asked the king. Gautama Buddha says, diligence, great king. So it is, great king, that the Dharma which has been expounded by me is one for the good friends, good companions, and good comrades, not one with bad friends, bad companions, and bad comrades. Indeed, good friendship is equal to the whole of that holy life. Therefore, great king, you should train yourself. I will have good friends, good companions, and good comrades to associate with. When a great king, you have good friends, good companions, good comrades, you should dwell with one thing for the support, diligence, in wholesome states. When the great king, you are dwelling diligently with diligence for support, your ladies of the court, retinues of noble ones, soldiers, subjects in towns and countryside will think thus. The king dwells diligently with diligence for support. Come now, let us also dwell with diligence for support. When the great king, you are dwelling diligently with diligence for support, you yourself will be guarded and protected. Your retinues of royal ladies will be guarded and protected. Even your treasury and storehouses will be guarded and protected. Even Gautama Buddha's last words, which he uttered before his final paranibbana, his passing away, pertain to heedfulness. All conditioned things are of the nature to decay. Strive to attain the goal by diligence. This was his last words. In the case of social values of mindfulness, in the following quotation of Siddhaka Sutra, Gautama Buddha's words describing the benefit of mindfulness reveals the closeness in practical terms of the meanings in appamata, heedfulness. Besides clarifying the meaning of these two qualities, this sutra also reveals that the Buddha's attitude towards a person's relationship to society. The Buddha's teaching views the internal life of individual as intimately connected to the external world, the society. These two aspects of a person's life are inseparable. Monks, once in the past, an acrobat set up his bamboo pole and addressed his apprentice thus, "Come, climb the bamboo pole and stand on my shoulders." Having consented to this request, the apprentice climbed up the bamboo pole, stood on the teacher's shoulders. Then the acrobat said to the apprentice, "You protect me and I will protect you." Thus guarded by one another, protected by one another, we'll display our skill, collected our fee, and get down safely from the bamboo pole. When this was said, the apprentice replied, "That is not the way to do it, sir. You protect yourself, teacher, and I will protect myself." Thus each self-guarded, self-protected will display our skill, collected our fee, and get down safely from the bamboo pole. That is the correct method in that case. It was just the apprentice who said it to the teacher. When thinking, "I will protect myself," one must apply the foundation of mindfulness. So too, when thinking, "I will protect others," one must apply the foundation of mindfulness. Protecting oneself, monks, one protects others. Protecting others, one protects oneself. And how is it by protecting oneself one protects others? By persistent practice, by cultivating and by enhancement. It is to such a way by that protecting oneself one protects others. And how is that by protecting others one protects oneself? By patience, harmlessness, loving kindness, and compassion. It is in that way that by protecting others one protects oneself. When thinking, "I will protect myself," one applies the foundation of mindfulness. When thinking, "I will protect others," one applies the foundation of mindfulness. Protecting oneself, monks, one protects others. Protecting others, one protects oneself. Mindfulness for wisdom development and the removal of mental impurities. Appamata, as we said, heedfulness, refers to the seamless mindful awareness to living one's life with consistent mindfulness. Heedfulness makes careful and prudent It prevents one from falling into the bad or harmful ways of living. It leads to self-restraint, weighing one against infiltration and indulgence. It urges one not to be complacent. It induces striving and encourages one to continue to develop in spiritual practice. It makes one constantly aware of one's responsibility by reminding of what one needs to be done and what does not need to be done, what has to be accomplished and what remains to be done. It helps one to perform various tasks with circumspection and precision. Thus, as stated earlier, appamata, heedfulness, is of major significance in the system of ethics. Heedfulness as an expression of mindfulness has whole-ranging significance in relations to one's general conduct in life. Broadly speaking, it is applicable from the stage of moral conduct, sila, up to the stage of concentration, samadhi. At these stages, mindfulness is associated with a large number of other spiritual qualities, particularly effort, vayama, which is combined at all times. Look solely from the terms of the mind during the process of panya development, wisdom development. The use of wisdom to purify the mind, however, appamata, heedfulness, is not directly involved, but rather gives devoted support and encouragement from without. At this stage, attention is confined to the workings of the mind, finally discriminating between the various phenomena present in the moment-by-moment analysis. It is at this stage that mindfulness is fully engaged and plays a prominent role, as it is referred to as by specific name, sati, mindfulness. An understanding of the essential unique meaning of sati, mindfulness, may be gained by contemplating its functions in those occasions when its role is clearly distinguishable from that of other spiritual factors. Most notably in the practice of the four foundation of mindfulness, satipatthana. On such occasions, the function of the mindfulness can be summarized as follows. The primary functions of mindfulness is that it prevents the mind from distraction. It does not allow sense impressions to pass by unheeded. It guards against absent mindfulness. It is attentive as keeping its eye on each impression that passes into consciousness and then bearing down on it. When one wishes to concentrate on a particular object, sati, mindfulness, maintains one's attention fixedly upon it, not allowing the object to slip away or disappear. By means of sati, mindfulness, one constantly recollects the objects and bears it in mind. One metaphor for sati, mindfulness, is a pillar, because it is firmly embedded in its object of attention. Another metaphor is a gatekeeper, because it watches over the various sense doors which these sense data passes, inspecting all that enters. The approximate cause, patatana, for the arising of sati, mindfulness, is firm, clear perception, sanya, of an object. Alternatively, the proximate causes of any of the four foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana, which is discussed below. Looking from the viewpoint of ethics, one can discern both negating and positive aspects of sati, mindfulness. As the negating factor, mindfulness guards the mind. It defends against mental distraction, protects one from making mistakes, and prevents one from falling into undesirable mental states or situations. It allows no opportunity for unwholesomeness to enter the mind. It prevents misuse of thought. On the positive side, sati, mindfulness, guides the stream of consciousness experience, the flow of thought, and indeed all at one's actions, so that they follow a desired course. It keeps the mind harnessed to its chosen object. It's thus a tool for laying down or laying hold the object of attention, as if placing it in front of the mind for consideration. In the Buddhist path of practice, there is a great emphasis on the importance of sati, mindfulness. Indeed, Gautama Buddha said that it required at every situation. Mindfulness is compared to salt, which can be used in every meal, and the prime minister who is involved in every branch of government. Sati, mindfulness may either restrain or support the mind, depending on the needs of the situation. Considering the attributes of mindfulness mentioned above, one sees the benefit of developing mindfulness as follows. The benefit and ability to maintain and safeguard desired state of minds. By monitoring the cognitive process and the stream of thought, one accepts only which is favorable to the mind and bars all that which is not. Moreover, by regulating and stilling the thinking process, one facilitates the attainment of concentration, samadhi. Freedom, both physical and mental, and self-sufficiency. The body and the mind are intrinsically at ease and relaxed, ready to encounter various situations, and able to effectively deal with things in the world. An ability in states of concentration to guide the cognitive process in the stream of thought and expand the range of activity. Investigation by wisdom faculty proceeds with optimum clarity by taking hold of a meditation object, as it were, placing it in front of the mind for subsequent investigation. Mindfulness acts as the basis on which wisdom can be developed and brought to perfection. The purification of all volitional actions by body, speech, and mind. A freedom from the tainted influence by craving and clinging, accompanied by clear comprehension, samapajjhana. Mindfulness ensures that one's actions are guided by wisdom, by pure reason discernment. The last two benefits listed above are goals of the advanced stage of spiritual development, are obtained through a prescribed method of practice referred to the four foundation of mindfulness, satipatthana. Right mindfulness in the context of the four foundation of mindfulness. Satipatthana may be translated as the foundation of mindfulness, or the establishment of mindfulness, the supervision of guidance by mindfulness. Technically, this term refers to method of applying mindfulness that produces optimal results. You see, as indicted by Gautama Buddha's words in the Mahasatipatthana Sutra. Bhikkhus, monks, this is the chief path of purification of beings. For passing beyond sorrow and lamentation, for disappearance of pain and grief, for the attainment of the sublime way, for the realization of nibbita, nibbana, nirvana, namely the four foundation of mindfulness. The cultivation of the four foundation of mindfulness is very popular and revered method of Dhamma practice. It is considered incorporated both tranquility meditation, samatha meditation, and insight meditation, vipassana meditation together. A practitioner may develop tranquility until the attainment of concentration, meditation, and absorption, jhana. Before developing insight based on the four foundation of mindfulness, satipatthana, and reaching the final goal. Alternatively, he or she may develop insight, again based on the four foundation of mindfulness as practical form of meditation, relying only on the basic level of samadhi, concentration, which is much as necessary for the task, and then reach the final goal. Vipassana meditation, insight meditation, is a vital principle of Buddhist practice, which is though widely discussed, is also widely misunderstood. The following examination of the four foundation of mindfulness, satipatthana, however brief, will shed some light into the meaning of vipassana, including the essential attributes, its range of applications, its versatility, and as well as the possibility of benefit for practice insight meditation in everyday life. The four foundation of mindfulness as are outlined as follows. Kaya Nupassana, contemplating the body, mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of breathing. Anapanasati, going to a secluded place, sitting in a suitable posture for meditation, establishing the mindfulness and focus on various aspects of the in and the out breath. So meditation being of the breath awareness. Iriyapata, mindfulness of posture, clearly perceiving the present mode and posture of the body. Standing, 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 sitting, 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 or lying, lying, lying down. Sampajana, clear comprehension, maintaining clear comprehension in every activity. Moving forward, looking around, stretching out the arms, dressing, drinking, eating, chewing, urinating, defecating, waking up, going to sleep, and speaking, and remaining silent. Patikula manasikara, meditation on the repulsive, contemplating the body from the top to the head and the soles of the feet and the repositories of the various unattractive constitutes. Dhatu manasikara, meditation on the elements, contemplating the body by considering it separate into the four constitute elements. Nava savitika, 9 cemetery contemplation, looking at corpses in 9 different states of decay, from one newly dead to one reduced to crumbled bones. In each case, one reflects one's own body must meet a similar fate. Then we have Vedananupassana, mindfulness of feeling and sensation when the feeling of pleasure or pain or neutral feeling arises, whether dependent on material things or independent on material things. One perceives it clearly as it actually is in the moment of occurrence. Sita Nupassana, mindfulness of the nature of mind, insight into the state of mind in any governed moment. One perceives clearly whether the mind is lustful or free from lust, angry or free from anger, deluded or free from delusion, agitated or concentrated, liberated or fretted. Then we have Dhammanupassana, mindfulness of mind objects. Hindrances, Nivarana, clearly perceiving in each moment whether the 5 hindrances are present in the mind or not. Clearly perceiving how as yet unarisen hindrances arrive, how hindrances already given may be abandoned, and how abandoned hindrances may be prevented from arising again. Then we have skanda, the aggregates or groups. Clearly the 5 aggregates, knowing the nature of each aggregate, knowing each aggregate arises and how it ceases. Then we have sense spheres, ayatana, clearly understanding each of the internal sense bases and the 6 external sense objects, understanding the men of fetters, samyojana, which arise dependent on sense spheres, knowing how unarisen fetters arise, how arisen fetters may be abandoned, and how abandoned fetters may be prevented from arising. Then we have bochana, enlightenment factors, clearly understanding in each moment whether any of the 7 factors of enlightenment are present in the mind or not, knowing how unarisen enlightenment factors arise, knowing how arisen factors can be brought to completion. Then we have Ariya Satya, the noble truths, clearly perceiving the nature of the 4 noble truths. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutra, in the Tipitaka, at the end of every one of the above clauses, there is an identical refrain. A monk abides contemplating the body internally, in his own body, or he abides contemplating the body externally, in someone else's body. Or he abides contemplating the body in the body, both internally and externally. Or else he abides contemplating the truth of origination in the body. Or he abides contemplating the truth of cessation in the body. Or he abides contemplating the truth of both origination and cessation in the body. Indeed, he establishes mindfulness in front of him that there is a body, to the extent necessary for the knowledge and recollection, and he abides independently, not clinging to anything in the world. That's the end of part 1 of chapter 18.3, Samma Sati, on the middle page of 1743. As we pick up with part 2 on 18.3F, Gifts of the Foundation of Mindfulness, in the middle page of 1743, Buddha Dhamma.